and plans for the future. And it is being recorded. Next slide, please. So, for those that aren't aware or want a little bit more of a recap of who we are as Moray Wellbeing Hub, we are a collective of people from the community who have all experienced some form of challenge in our own mental health and well-being at some point in our lives, and we want to make positive change. Use our lived experiences to support and help others and make change in Moray. Next slide. We believe in the value of chime, connection, hope, identity, meaning, empowerment. In everything that we do, we're always looking to make sure that whatever activity, social movement, program, course, whatever it is that we are doing, that we are bringing this to those that come along or to the people of Moray overall, and making sure that we promote positive mental well-being for everyone in what we do. Next slide. Okay, so as you'll see in a little bit, we have a new film coming out. A little bit of a launch, sort of a recap of what we're doing. But as I just said before, any space that we have or we're doing, we're always wanting to create chime. And here is sort of a reminder of for this today's session, because often in a lot of the things that we do, we try to start out and sort of put points beneath all the things of chime. So obviously here we, connection, people and community that we're connecting to. Hope as part of this thing. We want to look back last year and look at our highlights, our identity, looking at our vision and mission going forwards, meaning what's happening now and for the future. And obviously, as Heidi said, later on, we'll an empowerment I'll have over to you. So for a little bit of a question time and potentially even sort of a breakout room with us for a little bit of informal chat there. Okay. Thank you, Heidi. Okay. So at Moray Wellbeing Hub, we are two things, I suppose you could say. We are both a social movement and a social enterprise. So our social enterprise approach that gives us the resources to support our social movement when we're doing that stuff, when we're bringing in sort of finances, the funds, the income to make sure we can run those projects in the community. So that could be through grants, a little bit of like trade and selling courses and consultancy to business. And as we are doing that, we're getting those funds in. That means we can support that social movement that we host and support our champions and those that want to volunteer and go forwards, and also to potentially provide some paid roles, pro bono roles and volunteer roles overall. Okay. So I've sort of introduced sort of us, this meeting overall, the hub, but we're going to go around and introduce ourselves going forward. So I'm Joel. I started quite a few years back with the hub when I was studying at Moray College. During that time, I wasn't in the greatest spot, but I wanted to use my lived experiences to support my fellow students. So that's when Heidi, in the early days of my Wellbeing Hub, supported me, gave me opportunities to learn about peer support and other things. And that's how I came to be within the hub, even to this moment now. I've done some paid roles, but I'm here as a non-exec director. I've also got some experience sort of working in mental health within student association side of things, and that's kind of like the skills I sort of I suppose bring about peer support and knowledge of sort of running some sort of projects things over large areas. And something that really excites me going forwards really is Moray Wellbeing Hub is overall just seeing this a lot more of sort of champions and volunteers that have been coming through recently, and to see where that can be in the coming months and years going forwards. So sadly, Jane wasn't able to make it here today. She's currently in somewhere else, another country, so not able to join us. But she has a background in health and social care, and that's what she's bringing towards us at the hub and our team of directors overall. But I think it's over to you, Heidi, now.
Yes, thanks, Joel. I'm Heidi Tweedy, and I'm one of the founding directors at Moray Wellbeing Hub. So I've been here since we decided this was a good idea back in 2016. The experience that I bring, I've been a facilitator and trainer in mental health and doing consultancy work for about the last 20 years. And my role within Moray Wellbeing Hub is as an exec director. I also have a role. My role is a social movement and enterprise lead. So I work every day with the rest of the team, with loads of champions to create all kinds of change. And I guess the thing that most excites me going forward is how we can continue to look at driving the values of peers through our business and really encourage other people to use a values-based approach to create change and make sure that we're harnessing everything that we have as humans to really be able to do great jobs, to be able to feel really fulfilled in our jobs, and to have great mental health and create change for others. So I think next is Millie.
It is. Hello, I'm Millie. I've been with Moray Wellbeing Hub coming up for 5 years now. We moved to the area and we moved from overseas. We had a young son and I didn't realize it at the time, or I didn't have this framing for it, but my chime was pretty low. I didn't know anybody, didn't know what I was doing, was in a new place. But yeah, I was feeling a bit lost, had lost my identity, had left my career behind, moved countries, had a baby. Yeah, it was, chime wasn't great, but as the saying goes, seek and your Facebook algorithm will provide. And I saw an advert for Moray Wellbeing Hub champions. So I signed up as a champion just in order to meet people and connect with the community that I was now living in, and just loved what I saw, and then gradually got pulled in left, right and centre. Got asked if I wanted to apply for the director role that was available at the time. And then over time, I've had some paid work as well, but currently no longer in a paid role, but still very much here as a champion and director. My background is HR, so I'm always all about the people, and just love that connection that brings, the sort of coaching and supporting side of things. And I just think the hub's amazing for that. So for me as well, that's what I'm most excited about for the future. I think we've made really good progress in the last year in the way that we've engaged the community members and the two-way interaction that we've had with people. And I think that is an area that's just going to grow and grow and grow. Our champions are going to get stronger. The businesses, and social enterprise, the social movement is going to get stronger. So I'm really looking forward to that growing. Thank you. I'll pass to Niall.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Niall Mackenzie, and I've been with the Moray Wellbeing Hub for just a few months. I'm a professor of entrepreneurship at the University of Strathclyde, and I've known Heidi for much longer than either of us care to remember. And she asked me if I'd be interested in helping out as a non-executive director. And we were talking through about business, because that's what I research and teach. And we're talking through various different options. And she said, would you be interested in coming on board? And I said, I would love to, because I love working with Heidi and I love working with people. So I'm very new. I'm still learning bits and pieces about various things to do with the hub, to do with other areas of it as well, and looking at some of the business operations and also just how we can help meet the social mission of the hub. So I'm excited to get to know people, and I'm delighted to be here this evening as well. Thank you.
I can't hear sound, Heidi.
Is the sound not working? No, that's exciting. There's always something exciting at a Moray Wellbeing Hub event.
Should we try it and everything?
I know we tested it, but then I muted myself. So there we go. We'll try it again, shall we? Ready, everyone? Here we go.
Hello. We are a collective of people from the Moray community who have experienced challenges in our mental health and well-being at some point in our lives and want to make a positive change.
We believe in the value of chime, connection, hope, identity, meaning, and empowerment, promoting positive well-being for all.
Our values are shine, authenticity, curiosity, courage, compassion, diversity, catalyst for change, and fun.
Our vision. We believe everyone should have the power to live hopeful and connected lives as valued members of our community.
Our mission. We operate for the benefit of the Moray community as a social movement of wellbeing champions and as a social enterprise which invests in our community's mental health.
We focus on individual strengths, empower people to overcome challenges, and act as a catalyst for positive change in mental well-being.
As well as being a social movement, we offer mental health training, consultancy, and support services to organisations and businesses.
In all that we do, we combine innovation, lived experience, and a strong evidence base to ensure our work reflects the needs of the Moray community as a gold standard in peer-led action.
To find out more, visit www.moraywellbeinghub.org.uk.
Fantastic. I hope you all enjoyed that. I'm going to take us over to back to our slides again and over to, oh, it's me for a couple of slides. I think, Millie, I was about to hand to you. So some of the things that we've learned so far with running Moray Wellbeing Hub is we've achieved all kinds of things, and we started creating this strategy that we're going to be talking you through tonight. Back in 2022, which obviously was just after COVID, and that was a time where we had changed radically as an organisation. We'd had to move quite quickly to be online when most of the things that we've been doing were in the community. And so we looked back a little bit and looked at what we had managed to achieve. And at that point, we'd managed to sign up over 300 champions, Moray citizens, right across a whole range of ages. We'd run about 500 sessions, and that had obviously been really impactful. And we also, just going to move you on to the next one, we've been testing our employability approach, which was something that we'll talk a little bit more about later in terms of how we support and grow our team. And really, we've learned an awful lot about what we can do with this business and what's possible for the future. And we've had all kinds of different funding, and that's something that we'll hear from as well when we talk about what we've achieved over the last year, because the funders that we've had have also changed. We've gone from lots of funders that maybe were more small and were very much focused on community action to some research funders and other bigger funders like the lottery. But now I'm going to hand you over to Millie.
Thank you very much. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about connection. And in this sense, we mean people, which obviously at the heart of everything we do, the bonds amongst the people that we have, the shared goals and values that they have really drives everything that we do. And as with any organization or group or family or anything, if you don't have those people, then it's just an empty space. So for us, without the people, we can risk losing that momentum and losing that impact. So people really do drive everything we do. Now, obviously, that includes the whole of the Moray community, but some people choose to step up and join the social movement, and that's what we call champions. We don't call them volunteers because to be a champion, you don't have to volunteer. But champion is somebody that's had lived or living experience and wants to stand up and say, I believe in this. I want to challenge the stigma around mental health. I want to read your newsletter, maybe come along to some nice events throughout the year, maybe step up and volunteer or run your own group if you want to get involved in a more deep way. But anybody that wants to make change is absolutely welcome to join. So we support our community members by connecting them with regular in-person and online tools, resourcing them with training, providing expenses to allow people to join in with things. and getting support from our delivery team as well, who are amazing. So we're very strength-based. It's so important to do that. So we focus on individual strengths. We want to empower people to overcome their own challenges, to have the tools and the awareness to do it for themselves. We always say we are not experts in anything, we're just holding safe spaces. We're creating opportunities for people to take control of their own lives. And we want to act as a catalyst for change in mental well-being, positive change. This is quite an old slide. People who have been around for a while will have seen this. It's not as pretty as our new stuff, but I think it was important to include because it's just the reminder that we don't have a typical org structure that you might see in organizations, because for us, number one, the community members are at the key of everything we do, and the champions too. So they drive everything we do. If the community members and the champions say it's not important to them, the chances of us doing it are very, very low. So instead of having that sort of top-down structure, we have this inside-out structure, which puts, community members and champions really in the heart of everything we do. On to look a little bit at our delivery team. So first and foremost, all of these people are champions. That's what they started off as at the hub. And they are paid or formal volunteers who use their professional skills alongside peer skills that they've picked up along the way to facilitate project and business activities, either for the social movement or the social enterprise, or both of those. So we have a massive commitment to employability as well, and we will always look at the champion pool to fill any roles that we have available at the time. We know that's people that sign up to our values. We know that's people who have shared mission to us. And it's important to empower people as well and give them opportunities to take on these roles if that's what they want to do. So this has led to us having some team members who work weekly, and in a traditional structure, you'd probably call staff. And that works across things like administration. But then we have some people working more flexibly and ad hoc, such as peer facilitators, who deliver specific courses for us. So I think the main message there is just that we are very flexible. It's not your typical 9-to-5 job, but we try and work with people, allow people to bring the skills that they have, allow them to work around life's challenges that we all live with, whether their own or because they're caring for people, and just empower people to have a meaningful impact. So just a quick look through these roles. We have the social movement and enterprise lead, which is our Heidi, who has the dual hats as director as well. So she's got the oversight and responsibility of all human resources, finances, communications, and it's a general leadership role as well as a sort of business manager responsible for strengthening both the social enterprise aspect and the social movement of the Wellbeing Hub. We then have a sort of level of coordinators who coordinate people, projects, and social enterprise resources. And they tend to work a few more hours a week just because you need to be able to have your feet in enough pies, so to speak. We have a volunteer coordinator, which is much more focused on the community development role, increasing our network, connecting with partners, and supporting community members to navigate activities and what might suit them at any one time. Any organization wouldn't be able to function without a fabulous admin support network. These guys support communications, record keeping, maintaining resources, and making sure that everything happens, if I'm quite honest. We also have peer facilitator roles, and we quite often look for champions to step up into these. If you're interested and you want to do peer-to-peer and group facilitation skills, this is the main route that I think champions come into the delivery team, is by facilitating courses. So that could be in any of our safe space courses that we have. And then, of course, we have freelance specialists as well, doing things like graphic design, web, finance, and strategic support as well. I am now passing to, I think, Neil, yes.
I need to unmute before I share, of course. My apologies. You guys see my screen? Great. So what I want to do is to go through some of the achievements over the last year. We start with the finances. What you see is that over the period of 2017 to the current day, Moray Wellbeing Hub has increased in size almost 10 times. And what that tells you is that there's an enormous amount of work that's gone into the development of the hub, but also an enormous amount of activities that are associated with that. So if you've ever been to an AGM or a kind of or looked at the finances of organizations, you'll notice that there's some things a little bit different from the typical presentation these that. And what you have here is that social enterprises often have to share their information publicly, but a little bit differently. So to give you a sense of the scale and the number of activities that's gone on with Moray Wellbeing Hub, you can see the figures here. And what's interesting is the bottom line, it's the turnover. So you go from 2017 to 2018, £29,000 turnover up to 250, well, nearly £255,000 turnover, which is really impressive. Last year, Moray Wellbeing Hub accessed its first loan from Social Investment Scotland to support business growth. So the intention is to keep growing the activities, keep growing the reach, and keep growing the impact that the social enterprise has. What you find is that the grants are used to invest in champions to make change. To do this, the champions need empowerment. They need to have training, need to have development, and then they're able to go into the community and reach the social missions that Moray Wellbeing Hub has. Champions are trained in a range of different skills and topics, including Scottish mental health first aid, influence and change in health and social care, and Naxolone use for saving lives from overdose. Some key statistics, as of September 2024, there are 251 champions or social movement members. There's 150 champions who are signed up to the Slack channels, which we use for communication. Last month alone, there was over 200 estimated volunteered hours. If you were to scale that to the whole year, you would be looking at several thousand. 101 events published through the Ticket Tailor in the last year, and 1,100 Ticket Tailor bookings in the last year as well. So you can see the money is being put to very good use, and the activities are quite important, obviously, for what they do. But what's more important, of course, is what people are experiencing in relation to this. If you look at what people say about us, our champions say that having felt a connection, I feel I can be more open about my feelings, and that it's also okay to take some time out for myself. I feel inspired by the culture that Moray Wellbeing Hub is creating and enjoy the learning this gives me. Sometimes other people at school say I'm weird, but I just ignore them because I'm proud to be a young champion, helping people to be more positive. And then finally, I never did anything in my community before the course, but now I feel like I have something to offer and I'm looking forward to getting more involved. And that's really about trying to understand or try to help people recognise that they can be catalysts for change. That's part of the values of Moray Wellbeing Hub. If you think about what we do and what we try to do here, we like to try and describe ourselves as an infrastructure organisation. So we try and build and maintain the network so that more community members can create the destinations like groups and campaigns and events. And one way we do that is to look at our hosted tool, Discover Pathways. And this is something where we've had hundreds of visits per month over the last year. The tool that we use has grown from 3 new pathways to now having 8, and that helps navigate anything from getting more active to reducing harmful coping strategies towards more helpful ones. Our communications have improved steadily with the different platforms that we use as well. So they're accessible to the community. We've printed materials, we've got wellness calendar using Trello, we've got a website, we've got social media accounts with Facebook and Instagram, and we also have the Slack channel that champions use to communicate internally with the organisation as well. We've also been developing a customer relationship management database to gather and process data internally for delivery team members, which makes things easier in terms of how we coordinate and communicate across both the organisation and the wider locale as well. Other stakeholders have really nice things to say as well about us. They're saying things like, I've been waiting for so long for something like this to happen, so I'm really eager to be involved. There needs to be much more attention on the strengths of neurodivergent people. Feeling hopeful, partnership in a great place, and admin support's working well. Having information gets the conversation going, and as with me, you have the light bulb moment that could help others. And I'm impressed by the volume and quality of the work. So what you're seeing is Moray Wellbeing Hub isn't just a social enterprise, it's a social movement. It's having these impacts and connections more broadly, and this is really important to reaching the social mission ambitions. Business to business work's been in development with clear communications, lots of new opportunities explored. We've trained more facilitators during the period to enable us to expand delivery, and we've also explored a range of promotional opportunities to reach new organisations with our services. And these organisations that have gone through our training also have lots of nice positive things to say about the hub. One says that it felt important to be a main voice regarding wellbeing and being listened to, about reminding ourselves to take strengths-based approach to COVID response, seeing people as potential resources and not just vulnerable, and when acknowledged that many people found this unique approach to the hub to be empowering for all. And then finally, which I think is a nice note to end this part on, I think everyone needed these events more than we realised. They have meant that new people have been able to get out and meet people or see people over Zoom and that they may see in the community here. They've kept up other friendships and been built before, and they've reminded us that we're all in this together. And of course, you can advertise that by having these wonderful champion jumpers, t-shirts, badges, and more. Thank you. And I'll pass you over to
Right, so yes, I will be taking over for a little bit, talking about sort of identity and our focuses on that and part of this, having a look at our values and mission and vision overall. Again, just a little bit more in detail. So overall, our vision is that we believe that everyone should have the power to live hopeful and connected lives as individuals, as members within their communities. Human beings, we all have a right to a positive identity and being connected to also a positive community, rooted to each other and in place. And we believe that successful systems are built on empowered people, and that lived experience leadership is required as sort of a critical friend to make sure that those systems are working as how they should be for the community, for the individuals that could benefit from these systems. And in order to move meaningfully beyond stigma, self-stigma, that labeling and negative experiences, to have these individuals with these lived experiences to speak about sometimes those negative experiences and what can be changed within that can really be harnessed for a positive change. And overall, organizations, we believe, for ourselves, should succeed for the benefit of all people and the environment. Next slide, please. Okay, so our mission is that we hope to be a catalyst for this positive change and mental well-being. And to do that, we have to be authentic. We focus on individual strengths, empower them to overcome their challenges, and celebrate everyone's diverse humanity. Our social movement is in the constant state of looking at exploration, curiosity, and where there is necessary a sort of disruption of some systems that are a little bit stuck and not quite working, trying to upset a little bit of the status quo there. But in a positive and a critical friend sort of aspect there, focusing on positives and trying to, see where change can happen in a good way. And overall, we operate for the benefit of the Moray community, and but we do, sometimes go a little bit across the borders, to sort of highlight how we do peer-led action, peer support, try to be that sort of gold standards for, a little across the borders to spread on our message and so forth. Okay, next slide. As you sort of saw in our video before, these are sort of our values overall, and diversity. That's like a good one to sort of highlight there, because we need to have a range of different experiences, lived experiences, in terms of making sure that sort of healthcare systems are catering for those that perhaps aren't heard as much or have unique sort of challenges. And again, sort of our champions and sort of volunteering, all the things that we do, we have that courage to step up and say when things aren't quite right and things. But overall, another one here at the right, obviously want to make sure that when we're doing these things, as much as possible, that we're doing it in a fun way, if we can, to get that level of enjoyment and positivity in all that we do. Okay, thank you. And I think we go on to the next section.
Yep, that's me. So I thought I'd take you through a little bit about what's happening with Moray Wellbeing Hub now, and look at the last year or so, just because it gives us a sense of what's working and what we're learning. And what we're learning really is that what we need to do needs to be as local as possible. It needs to be led by peers. And we need to have that balance of lived experience and evidence-based approaches. That's the most effective way that we can do things. We know that we need to have a really strong strategy, and this would be the key things that we're focused on going forward. So we call our strategy Hope for the Future, and these are the 5 things that we're kind of focused on as strategic sort of outcomes. We want to be at the forefront of mental health and wellbeing in Moray and be an advocate for lived experience leadership wherever it is. We want to grow and strengthen our peer support and mentoring offerings. We want to increase and diversify our business revenue streams. We want to streamline and strengthen our internal processes, and we want to ensure that mental wellbeing support in Moray is accessible to all. So let's have a look at how we're going to be doing that going forward. Some of the things that we've been working on come under a digital inclusion banner, and that's something that we're quite committed to. As services change, we're in a rural environment as well. It's really important that people can access the support that they need, be that medical services, social services, or peer support, or any other services. They need to be able to do that through digital means in this sort of digital time that we're in. And so that's been one of the focuses that we've been doing, and we've had a project now going on about 9 months. We've got funding for this particular project that will go on for another 3, and we'll be looking for further resources for that. As part of this particular project that we've been working on, we've been able to supply lots of people with devices, phones, computers, and also connectivity. And that's made a massive difference to people being able to understand how they can connect with others, how they can connect to health and supports. Another big area for us is research. When we first started out in Moray Wellbeing Hub, we would not have framed things around the word research. And quite often when we've talked about research, it's a word that can bring barriers for people. But actually what we're talking about is that value of being curious. We've had significant resource from UKRI, and we're waiting again for this national funding to let us know, because we've had a bid in for quite a lot of money for the Moray area that we'll be helping to host, along with lots of partners that will last for another few years into the future. As well as that, we've been working with the British Science Association through the Ideas Fund, looking initially at parent and infant mental health, and then going forward, we're probably going to pull in that digital theme into that, and also peer support. But that's still evolving. But that's definitely something that we're going to be looking at going forward, is how do we actually take what we're learning and put a research part to it? How do we disrupt the traditional research bodies so that they really do have lived experience as part of the output? And champion support and development is something that we're always going to be focused on. That's not going to change. We've got funding from the lottery that will last us up until February, and we'll be looking for other funds beyond that too. So you can see here in some of the pictures, some of the things that people have been up to. They've been off to conferences, they've been running groups and events, including things like the Walk of Hopes that have been going on. So we'll be continuing that. That's not going to stop, but the funding will change, and that's just the nature of things. And of course, here's some more images from some of the things that champions have been doing. Things like hugely successful drop-ins where champions have been leading that, creative activities, walks, obviously the bake stall, there's Millie down the bottom, Walk of Hope, and some of the fantastic family activity there with Alison talking to a wee chap, I think, about some bubbles, which is very important. Can't have enough bubbles at events. The other thing that we are really focused around at the moment is collective voice and challenging stigma. And we're working a lot, particularly with the Alcohol and Drug Partnership, who are resourcing us, at least for the next probably 18 months, to make sure that we're able to gather collective voice and put people, especially those with experiences around alcohol and drug use, at the heart of the services that are there to support them and help them. So it's really important that we have really good systems for that, and we're trying really hard to figure out the best ways to do that. If you haven't already, I really recommend that you go along to the website and you have a look at the collective voice report that we have up there at the moment. That covers 6 months. We'll be doing another one again in another couple of months, where we gather all the information that we hear from people across events, courses, and action groups. We put that together and it's there ready for services to use, and we make them respond as well. We poke them until they've got something back to say to us about what they're going to do as a result of it. The next thing we're going to be doing is working with the community justice team around resources for people who are impacted by the justice system. So that will continue, and there will be loads of different themes running through that as they have in the past. And of course, peer-led self-management support. That will continue around our digital project, obviously, until the end of the year. But our Wellness College courses will continue to seek resources for accessible courses like Chime for Wellbeing and Living Life to the Full. And we're also going to ensure that we continue to support the development of a national peer support network with fellow peer organisations and leaders across Scotland as part of building a peer workforce both here in Moray and across Scotland. I'm going to hand you over to Millie now.
And I'm sure by now you're probably tiring of hearing our voices. So I'm actually going to bail out and pass over to you all. We would love to hear from you all. Like I said, you're all at the centre of what we do. You are why we're here. You keep things going. So we would really appreciate it if you could take a moment to reflect on what you've seen tonight or what you have experienced of the hub in the last however long. And pop some comments for us in the chat if you would be so kind. What have you seen tonight or in general from Moray Wellbeing Hub that you have loved or liked? What could be better, or what do you want to see more of? Or are there any questions you have? So I'll give everybody maybe a minute to reflect and think of that, and then we can pick some of those up. Heidi, what do you think?
Sounds good. I'm going to stop recording now.